effective participation brings in one of the lessons I would want to focus on, which is called network effect. We are all members of social groups, social networks, and we know what a social network is. But how many of us have actually thought how that would work as a business model, or how that works as a business model? We go on WhatsApp. We don't pay to use WhatsApp. Have we ever asked ourselves, why are we using such a fantastic short messaging system and we don't pay? Why is it that we don't pay? Because we are the products which WhatsApp is selling. We go there, we join. The more people who join and use WhatsApp, the more data WhatsApp has to sell to Facebook. That's why Facebook went. For years, they had WhatsApp as a business. No one was paying for it until Facebook bought it. Why? Because we, the users, are the products. That's what's called the network effect. Cooperatives are sitting up in a position where once you identify a focus, we want to go in the financial sector as a cooperative. We're going to deal with insurance. We're going to deal with banking. We're going to deal with loan. We're going to deal with business funding, venture capital loan. You define those because these are problems you have identified in a community you're targeting. The best way of looking at it is to think of a telephone. A telephone is useless if you buy a telephone and you don't have people to call. And yet, it works more when you buy a telephone and you get more people to call. You start telling people to buy their phone so that you can call them. And the network keeps on expanding. It starts with one individual, and the more people who join in, that network becomes stronger. This is the business model which is used by all these social media companies, and you are now seeing it going into your biggest corporations, which are your top 100 Bloombergs and all that. Any business which is failing to build the network effect, its future is limited. So in order to benefit effectively, cooperatives and the kind of entities we would need to create under these conditions should take the value of network effect. Because a cooperative deals with real problems within community and within society. And because of that, it's easier to be effective and to be exponential in your enterprising model business. And forget about all the challenges where you have got naysayers who would argue that, look, no, cooperatives are a socialistic perspective. It's all and they are a defunct model. To the contrary, if they were a defunct model, countries like your Germany and all that would not have recovered from the Second World War after being decimated and losing that war. That's why majority, 57% of Germans are members of cooperatives and use effectively cooperatives. So any society which is stable and able to recover from a crisis and all uses effective cooperation. But for South Africa, effective cooperation would mean we need to be more aggressive and exponential and be enterprising in the way we think of what problems do we want to solve with this particular cooperative. What is it that we know very well that even under the apartheid era, what we consider commercial agriculture today was a product of cooperatives, right? And this was the foundation of the Union of South Africa. Cooperatives were the foundation of the Union of South Africa. Before even the Union of South Africa was signed in 1910, the other side of the losing side of the war were the Afrikaners. They made the decision and demanded that a land bank be created before they signed that agreement. That's why most of the institutional structures like the land bank, they predate the Union of South Africa. They were part and parcel of that argument and that debate from 1902, when that war ended, up to 1910, when the whole agreement was signed, which then excluded the majority of us. So we will be naive that the exclusion of the majority of South Africans from participation in the economy is a coincidental issue, or is just a byproduct of colonialism or apartheid. It goes deeper to structures and institutions. Whilst we've got good laws in terms of cooperatives, but their application and use is still a bigger problem. That's where the possibility comes in. Because we sit closer to society and community, we have responsibility to continuously educate ourselves so that we address real challenges of the people. Beyond, even we take this example, we say, no, COVID is a problem. We know that. But the question we ask ourselves, were we that powerful before COVID? The answers will still no. We still had the problem. which means we must use this as a landmark, but the decisions we must make must address problems we have faced prior to coming up to this position. And there's so much research and data available on figuring out what is the effectiveness of cooperative in different sectors. And even McKinsey's have done studies with some of these institutions and all, and the results always come back that there is no difference between a corporation and a cooperative which is managed as an enterprise. That's the difference. A cooperative which is managed as an enterprise participates and performs in some sectors, even outperforms corporations which are listed on the basis that such members drive their interest and they would guard their interest jealously and will do everything to make sure that we succeed. But if a cooperative is managed as public goods like government, then that's where the challenge comes. The fact that every member has participation capacity doesn't necessarily mean that we are all equal in terms of capacity to manage affairs and to manage our interest. That differentiation of saying treating a cooperative as an enterprise rather than as public goods makes a huge difference. That's the basis upon which we can start building new cooperatives, which creates network effects, recruiting more people to join in because they want to solve the problems which they are actually experiencing.
The whole concept of the cooperative is a numbers game. Any financial institution or any community is more of a numbers game. How do we come together and assist each other? So we assume you have 300 members, each contributing 500 a month, and then you will have yearly, you will have a total of 1 million worth of savings. That's 10 million, and then in 30 years, that's 32 million. That's only what savings where you haven't included interest and allowing for inflation. So now, when you look at numbers, so now if you have 1,000 members, so the numbers drastically increase. So it means you have a capability of million a year. If you have so you're able to build your own shopping malls, income generation assets, whichever business that will guarantee cash flow, whether it be a food retailer or your petrol. So you obviously look at your less risky assets. So includes your property, your food, those guaranteed business irrespective of the conditions. And then you also look at your shopping malls, whichever that the members will find of the suitable institution. And then if you go to 10,000 members, now you, on a yearly basis, now you can have a saving of 36 million per year, and that's an average of 3 million a month. That's only with a minimum contribution of 500 per month. So depending on what the members would be able to contribute going forward. So now you have the same financial muscles. In 30 years, you have over $1 billion, but with the right income generating assets that can be invested in, is most likely that within a period of less than 5 years, the members could have an opportunity to stop because the income that can be generated or that be generated by assets and discount back the money that they would have paid in for the next 5 years or 10 years. So basically is what you would call a paid up policy type of a thing. So now in that rate, then it releases pressure from the members, but knowing that acquiring these different assets that give them that huge flexibility in that space. 10,000 might look as a big number, but it's relatively quite a small number, depending on the strategy and in terms of how do they relate to the community. Part of how their integrated approach speaks to the members, because you need to understand that the of might differ. The members understand that long investment, then it becomes quite a huge investment saving vehicle. Is such amount of money, you are able to acquire as many possible income. With 100,000 members, now you're sitting at 160 million a month. We haven't included any interest. It's just pure capital in that kind of savings. So with only per annum, you are having an ability to save 360 million. Now, in that case, it means you can build your own healthcare systems, your own education systems that you can finance, and still these numbers. This is what your banks or insurance companies are already having as premiums. So now if you take these as premiums, could be your Sanlam funeral cover. I believe they have more than 100,000 policy holders. So it means they're collecting an average of 360 million per year. In 5 years, that becomes 1.8 billion, 3.6 billion in 10 years. Now you could see the massive impact that can be done. Then with that kind of investment, being able to support the members, and then if the member grows to 1 million, then when you look at the numbers increase. So it is a numbers game, and also look at how is it possible that you can have a 3.6 billion collection model from us and build all these sustainable institutions that we will be able to hopefully end that whole plight of poverty and have a voice. These industries, institutions that will be, whether acquiring in terms of buying shares, whether listed or non-listed, or investing in the members' business and having that whole structure. But the good thing is that whole model as the members, it carries on the members' terms, how the members want their money to be invested and grown, could in the agriculture space, set the that you enter into, but there is in that huge collectiveness. But then you could see in numbers, it is a numbers game, and you could have such. So it means shopping mall, the next should be built by us, and we cannot be on the sideline or waiting for others to come do it for us. So to have that togetherness in terms of being able to have impact in our own communities. So it is the way it was already being done. I think the I'm not sure, but they were registering, they're opening over 200,000 accounts per month. It means their collective savings of the membership of your monthly charges, it's above billions monthly. So there's nothing special that FNP is doing, special that ABSA is, there's nothing special that Tech is doing, or whichever reputable and respectable financial institutions that they're doing. We all can do it. And the good thing is that we've been doing it. The challenge was the business model. Because if we were to combine the collective savings of the Stokvets across the country, it's more than this. It is a sleeping giant. So it means we need to have a long-term view. It can no longer be that we continue to save up December and then struggle the following year. So now it's about how do we sustain our own communities and establish our very investment hub, own cities the way we. So everything is possible. We just have to move in that direction and believe that we can, and leave a legacy for the next coming generation to we would have prepared a foundation for them and they don't have to start from scratch. Thank you very much.